We have the pleasure of speaking to Dr. Michele Reis, a migration and diaspora expert and consultant hailing from the island of Trinidad and Tobago. She's here in Atlanta for the launch of her new book entitled Who's Who in the Trinidad and Tobago Diaspora. Welcome, Dr. Reis.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the audience know who you are.
I lecture at the Institute of International Relations at UWI in St. Augustine. I've been lecturing since 2007, and I teach a course on migration, diaspora, and development as part of the master's program.
Could you tell us a little bit more about why this book? What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, first of all, I started collecting the information let's say about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I would just, anytime there was any article, I had no idea what I would do with it then. But anybody who knows me well knows that I'm very passionate about my country. So anytime I saw an article on a Trinbagonian doing something abroad, it didn't matter the field, I would cut out the article and I would save it and put it in a file.
That's dedication.
Not knowing what I was going to do with it.
Right.
So I had a few hundred articles, and I was initially planning to do another book on migration, which would have been a sort of a book, like a one-stop shop that would have talked about where Trinidadians have migrated, what were the differences between the various diasporic communities, what took them there. I would look at socioeconomic background, ethnicity, etc. And that was the original book project, so that should have been my book one. When I went up to see my publisher in Fort Lauderdale, they just happened to have a version of this current book, which was the Who's Who in the Haitian Diaspora. So they told me, you should do one like this for Trinidad. So I said, oh, all right. So I shelved the first book, and so this became the first book. So
right.
I do intend to do that book on migration. That's going to be my second book.
Okay. So this is the first of many. Right. So as you touch on challenges, of course, keeping things updated is one challenge.
Yeah.
But then what were some other obstacles that you faced getting this book together?
Well, not too many, from the point of view that, yes, it was work, but it was my passion. It was really fascinating learning about some of the people. But I didn't really have too much cooperation in terms of our overseas missions, and I have to be honest. I didn't really.
Yeah. They had to see the actual book.
Yes.
But, yeah.
And I'm still collecting information. This book is not finished, and I plan to have maybe a website where we would be able to update the bios easily, where we would be able to have fuller bios, because it was really unfair to have to cut some of the bios that the publishers were only allowed to do so much.
Right.
And some people, their stories were extraordinary, but you had to, stick within a certain template. Obviously, you could not have photos for every single bio.
I think it's a really great initiative, and especially for the younger generation, letting them know who our stalwarts are, outside of just our island, So many people make strides. For you, with, the 2 years of research, putting all this information together, was there any one person or group of people that really stood out to you, and why?
That is such an unfair question. It really is hard to say, because there were so many people that stood out at you. I could single out a few. Eugene Chen, who was Minister of Foreign Affairs in China for nearly 20 years.
Wow.
Claudia Jones, famous activist, black activist, also founder of Notting Hill Carnival. She is actually buried to the left of Karl Marx in Highgate Cemetery.
Wow.
But there were so many amazing stories, and living and deceased. So, as you said earlier, there are a lot of people who we really didn't know about. I didn't know about these people.
Any specific criteria to be considered for the book? How do you decide who's who?
Yeah, I don't, you have to be a little bit discerning. So you know, we included a wide range of people. Races, and who are, you know, in their own right, movers and shakers, really.
So, as you mentioned, you know, I could imagine a diverse range of people and skill sets, but was there any particular things that you saw they had in common that made them such successful people?
Hardworking people, extremely dedicated. A lot of them, when you read stories, background stories, they spoke about the upbringing in Trinidad and what it meant for them, and how they were able to translate the family, the importance of family, community, religion, our multicultural diversity, which, you know, we take for granted, how they were able to take those things and translate it into their respective contexts.
Next for the launch of this book.
Okay. Several things in the making. Well, first, the launch tomorrow will be in Lithuania at the clubhouse in Tiburon, and that's at 6 p.m. After that, I go to New York, and I don't have the exact venue yet, but there's one event planned on the 14th and another on the 12th of August. Then I return to Trinidad, where I hope to launch it in Tobago. I've already launched it in Trinidad, so I'd like to have a separate launch. Some other areas. I also have an offer to go to Boston.
Okay.
So the organizers of Boston Carnival mentioned that to me. So, you know, if other people are interested in you know, networking to be able to pull this off, then great.
We'll make it happen, right?
We'll make it happen.
And for people who are interested in getting in contact with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
I can be reached by email, which is the best way. So the email address is diaspora.issues@gmail.com. So that's diaspora.issues@gmail.com. And if they message me, they can find out how they, you know, if they have any information for me.
Right.
Or the book is available on Amazon. It's also available on Caribbean Studies Press website. That's the publisher out of Fort Lauderdale. So they can also go on the website, and there's an order form there, or they can email me directly, and I can send them the order form as they wish.
Cool. Well, we definitely thank you for coming out here to Atlanta.
Thank you for having me. It's my first time, and I'm enjoying it.
Good, good.
Thank you.
You clearly enjoy the tassa roti.
Oh,
and we applaud this effort. It's much
Thank
needed,
you.
so
Thank
we
you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Okay.
Thanks.